This is the AT Banter Podcast, a balanced and entertaining look at assistive technology, accessibility, and its importance in people's lives. Join Rob Minot, Ryan Fleury, and Steve Barclay as they banter with people around the world about anything and everything regarding assistive technology and the disability community. Now, on with the show.
Hello and welcome to AT Banter. That was terrible, you guys. Hey, welcome.
Sound like turkeys.
We don't know what we're doing. Hey, it is Halloween, or almost Halloween here at in the Guitar Dungeon. My name is Rob Minot.
And there's spiders hanging from the ceiling, and there's bloody gauze over the door.
Yeah, thanks for turning out all the lights and letting me and Steve come down in here with all these spiders hanging from the ceiling, Ryan. That was really nice.
Yeah, that was entertaining.
I thought so.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
If I'm blind, you can be blind for an instant, too.
Yeah, whatever. My name is Rob Minot. Over here is Mr. Ryan Fleury.
Spooky, spooky.
And Steve Barclay.
Terrifying.
We have a special guest. Ryan, you want to introduce our special guest?
We have friend of the show, Miss Colleen Connor from BlindInspirationCast.
Yay.
Woo!
And Frau Blucher.
Nice. I like it. We're all in the Halloween spirit here. Today, obviously, is our Halloween show. And what are we doing today, Rye?
Well, we have some news stories we're going to talk about.
Uh-huh.
And then we
spooky news stories.
Some spooky news stories, yes. Spooky Consumers should be afraid.
Uh-huh.
See, segue there, huh? I thought that was
pretty good.
Yeah. And then we're going to have Steve carve a pumpkin live as we record the show.
Yeah, that'll have all the excitement of...
the sound of drills.
No, it's going to be great. This is.
Oh, it's going to be fabulous.
It's all about theater of the mind, Steve.
All right.
That's right. Rob will commentate as we go.
So it's just like it'll be just like the Orson Welles War of the Worlds radio broadcast.
That's still a classic.
Yeah, see, they have insurance up there in Canada. That's why they didn't have me do it, because here in the States, if I sliced my own hand off, it would be a serious problem.
Well, that was actually one of my concerns, Colleen, because Steve and Power Tools have had issues in the past.
Ooh, that's true.
So I was a little concerned.
only really one power tool and I have had an issue.
Yeah, and in Steve's credit, the finger's still there.
Yeah, I've still got the fingers.
I mean, it was close, wasn't it?
Well, it was a little dodgy. Yeah.
Wasn't it your middle finger?
My middle and my index finger on my right hand.
Eesh.
But here we are again, Steve and Power Tools.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, sorry, that was... Now I have to explain it. I was working with a wood router, and I went to adjust the bit on the wood router and accidentally hit the trigger while I was holding on to the bit. And wood routers are DC motors, so they spin up immediately to their top speed, which in this case was about 2,500 RPM.
Industrial Safety 101, unplug the device first.
Yeah. So my fingers went and ended up over my head. They were thrown over top of my head. And my first thought was, ooh, I wonder if I've hurt myself. And then I pulled my hand down and looked at it, and it looked like my two fingers had exploded.
Oh, God.
And I went, ooh, yeah, I hurt myself. So I'm sitting there with blood squirting out the ends of my fingers and, to the heartbeat. And I crunched my fingertips into the palm of my hand to keep the bleeding from spraying all over the place, and went to the back door, and my kids were inside the back door in the living room, so I'm trying not to freak them out. So I called my wife. I go, Jackie, would you bring me a cloth? And she says, okay. And she's pottering around the kitchen. I said, Jackie, would you bring me a cloth now, please? Trying not to freak out. And she looks at me, and I hold up my hand with blood running down my arm. And She runs into the kitchen. She runs back and she says, here's a dirty dish rag. I looked at her. I said, I don't want a dirty dish rag. So she went and she got me a towel. And then she drove me to the hospital. And the doctors and nurses looked at the fingers, and the doctor who was put in charge of stitching me up, she looked at it and she turned it this way and she turned it that way and she says, I have no idea how to start.
Oh God, that's the second worst thing you can hear a doctor say. The first thing being oops.
How about freezing it first?
Yeah, so I ended up with 7 stitches in the tip of one finger and about 15 in the other. But the one that was actually more beat up was the one that got less stitches because there was less skin to actually tie to other bits of skin. And then, of course, they wrap it all up and they tell you, okay, you gotta do this and that for wound care and soak it and so forth. And then we'll make an appointment with a plastic surgeon for you to have a look at it. And so I'm going through all the stuff, and I as I'm washing it and dressing it and stuff, I notice that there's kind of a hard bit sticking out of the end of one of the fingers, and I say to Jackie, "Oh, look, I think that's a little piece of bone sticking out there." She says, "Don't touch it. Don't do anything with it. You just leave it alone." So I left it alone, and finally ended up going to the plastic surgeon. And said to the plastic surgeon, "Hey, I got this little thing sticking out. It looks like a little piece of bone." She goes, "Oh yeah, that's a little piece of bone." She takes a pair of tweezers, pulls on it, cuts it off. It's like, oh, jeez. Okay. Fair enough. But yeah, it's all healed up now. My middle finger looks sort of cauliflowered, but aside from that, it's fairly functional.
Ugh.
Anyways, power tools. I got more. Yay.
Colleen,
Yay!
Colleen,
one of my friends in college, we were, working the table saw, and it's not one of those fancy table saws. It was an older table saw, and we were cutting Hollywood flats, which in theater is the 4 foot by 8 foot flats that they use in the back of the stage that you paint to create the sets. And one of the there was a knot in the wood, and it popped up the board off the table saw. And instead of turning the saw off, because we had no theater tech staff, we're all actors, he just put his hand down to push the wood back onto the saw, and he sawed 3 of his fingers off.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's a bad day.
And so I still had quite a bit more vision at the time, and I was there, and I was working at a table nearby, and somebody was screaming, and there was everyone was just kind of losing it. And so I said, turn off the saw, and, he's standing there, and it is just like this weird moment where someone's just staring at their own hand. So I was like, get a baggie, grab somebody, go in the teacher's office, get a baggie, get those finger pieces in ice, please. I'm going to need this. I'm going to need you to go upstairs because there's no reception down here, to call 911 and get someone down here who's a real adult. And then I had Will sit down and put his hand above his head, and he's just kind of in total shock, just not saying anything, just and I was like, this is not happening. Not. And he ended up good. The ambulance came, and the staff was like, who did all the emergency procedure? And they pointed at me like she did. And then later on, I went to Catholic U in DC, so they airlifted him to Georgetown, which has a famous hand and foot hospital. They have some top surgeons there, and the rest of the semester he was gone and stuff like that. But they managed to save the 2 fingers, but his left ring finger ended up being still stumpy. Mm-hmm. And he had, quite a bit of graft work and scar tissue and stuff like that. But the next year, he came back to school, and he said, I want to take you to lunch. And so we went to lunch at Union Station, and he said, you saved my hand. And he was like, I wanted to thank you for saving my hand.
Oh, that's nice.
And I was like, oh, well, I said, you're welcome. I just kind of kicked into high gear. I don't know. And so that year we had little awards that we do at school, and it's always around Halloween time. So we always do a scariest award. And it was what was scariest this year. What was the scariest thing this year? And they did the plant from Audrey 2 because they had done Little Shop of Horrors. Mm-hmm. There was the Three Witches from the Scottish play, for those of you who are superstitious, McBee. And the last was, we had a big picture of the table saw. We said, or the table saw in the Granite Building. And we gave Will a faux award. We make these little Oscars out of like Barbies and stuff. And he got a little prize from all of us and like a gift card. And so the scariest award that year went to the table saw that sawed off Will's fingers.
Excellent.
So anyway,
Damn.
Power tools.
Yeah. Growing up, my dad always had one. His middle finger on his right hand was truncated just above the knuckle because he'd run it through some gears years before. Crushed the end right off in some gears at work. And that was his party trick, though. He would take his finger and he'd stick it in his ear, stick it up his nose, and do various tricks to horrify children.
All right. Well, any other horrific wound stories?
Mm-hmm.
No, I know Ryan has one, but I don't want to hear that one. He told me that one once.
I don't remember that one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got nothing.
You got nothing?
No. I've been
pretty tame
extremely cautious my entire life. That horrifies me. I can't imagine that.
I know some people that have lost their vision doing dumb things like experiments, and
I can imagine.
The director of The Seeing Eye, he's an amazing man, but he talks about how he was doing an experiment when he was a young man, just like, I'm going to build a rocket, and then it blew up in his face.
Yeah, rocketry, not a good hobby.
That was my hobby when I was young. Yeah.
Fireworks.
Only I made them blow up deliberately.
Safety first, everybody.
No, safety second, explosions first.
No.
That is clearly some sort of rule in someone's book.
Alcohol first.
Oh, yeah. Here's where
Explosion second.
And safety third. Okay, all right.
Fair.
More alcohol third. Then.
That's right. You need alcohol and numb the pain.
All right. Well, so
All right,
okay.
let's
Wait,
go.
all right. So before we get sidetracked more, which I'm sure will happen, we need to figure out this pumpkin. So,
All right.
So
Steve had a plan.
Yeah, okay. So I figure, why don't you guys start in on the news articles, and I'll start cleaning the pumpkin.
Okay, well, what do we?
It's gotta be
Okay,
cleaned, right?
Oh, I see. All right.
Yeah, he's going to
okay,
chop
fair
the
enough.
top off and take the guts out.
Actually, that's another thing too, right? Do you have a spoon?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And then I was trying to look up why we carve pumpkins, and there seems to be a reference to warding off demons and carving scary faces. There's something about jack-o'-lanterns is started in the 17th century in Britain, and then it came to the United States apparently with Irish immigrants. So
Really?
there's my people coming at you.
Yeah, we got a lot to answer for.
Well, here's my thing. Like, how long does a pumpkin takes quite a while to grow? Does it not? I mean, I don't know anything about pumpkin farming.
You usually plant them in the spring, harvest them in the fall.
Well, this seems like a ridiculous waste of
Food? Yes.
resources to actually take a pumpkin that takes an entire season to grow,
And
then you carve it up and scoop the insides out. Although, I don't know, I guess maybe back in the day, maybe they actually didn't waste.
Well, I think Steve in the past makes pumpkin soup.
I do. I make ginger pumpkin soup.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So Steve uses them.
Also, there are some pumpkins that are good for eating, and then there are some that are are not, to my knowledge.
Really?
I got a pumpkin from the store one time that was like specifically like carving pumpkins, and I was like, oh, I'll just, instead of carving it, I can make pie or soup or something, and it tasted horrifying. So I don't, I don't know if that was just my like curse of the not able to cook this, or it was. I don't know if there's specific kind of pumpkins for specific.
Steve, when you're out shopping for pumpkins, do you just buy a pumpkin and cook it, or is there a special pumpkin?
Nope.
No?
Just regular pumpkin.
No, it's all marketing.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's
pictures of the process here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure.
No, you got to get the camera out.
Yep, Rob's got the camera out.
His head.
Now Rob is standing up. He's got the camera in his hands. Steve is striking a pose with a knife.
Ryan's taking a picture of Ryan.
I'm ripping the top off of the pumpkin.
Damn.
Oh, I've cut the circle in the top.
Oh my
There are seeds.
God,
Don't forget to angle it so that it doesn't fall in the lid.
Hey, I am a professional pumpkin carver here, I'll have you know.
I'm just trying to, for those listening and following along, trying to do their own pumpkin.
That's right.
Just saying, you put the knife in at an angle,
Yes,
so
that's
that
right.
the lid doesn't fall in. Cough, cough. I've never done that.
That's right. You've just given a vegetable a lobotomy. I hope you're happy. Wait, is it a vegetable? Yeah, it's a vegetable.
And the
Or is it a fruit? Wait, I don't know. I always get the...
Pumpkins, they are gourds.
Oh, okay. Well, that's even worse.
Something Rob would definitely not eat.
They're like a squash.
No, I like pumpkin.
Do you?
Are you kidding? I'm a pumpkin spice fiend.
Oh,
This
I
is my
love pumpkin
favorite
pie
time of
stuff,
year.
yeah.
I'm really disappointed this year that we didn't get pumpkin spice Oreos up here this year.
Well, you
we
know
didn't
what's
get
funny?
pumpkin spice Cheerios. We got really screwed over.
Linda and I looked at the grocery stores for anything pumpkin related. Pumpkin cereal, pumpkin cookies, pumpkin. There was nothing this year.
I know.
We even tried the
Oh
McDonald's.
man, we should. I can send you the most ridiculous.
Please.
We have pumpkin spice Pop-Tarts down here.
Yes.
Well,
oh my God.
You know, like in the U.S., you guys have like 58,000 varieties of Oreos. Up here, we have 3. You know, like it's so crazy.
I stopped trying to figure out Oreo flavors after they came out with watermelon Oreos.
Oh, okay. Stop the timer. Steve has officially cut himself.
Uh-oh.
Who won the pool? Who had 10 minutes and 12 seconds?
You're out of luck. There's no gauze, no tape. Oh, there's tape.
I think Linda's going to get him.
Paper towel.
Liquid Band-Aid, liquid Band-Aid.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh God, there's blood.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's not even a.
I'm
not even a.
faint.
It's not even a
Wait,
power.
how already wound yourself? We're on the lid.
It's not even a power tool.
Well, I was cutting off the gump on the bottom of the lid, and so it didn't have all the gooey bits on it, and slipped with the knife. And,
All right, so go grab some paper towel.
yeah, Linda just came down. She's gone to get some.
So yeah, if you could ever, if
Wound.
you have some extra money and you want to send us some pumpkin Pop-Tarts, by all means, we'll devour them. It's funny because I actually tried McDonald's pumpkin spice latte. I tried Starbucks pumpkin spice this year and Tim Hortons, and they were all awful this year.
Yeah, I didn't. I tried the McD's one too, and it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't good at all. So,
Yeah.
anyways, where were we? Oh yeah.
Steve was bleeding.
Yeah.
Oh God.
All right. We're only partly handicapped here. We're
Medic!
holding some paper towel onto my thumb while I'm.
The medic ran
Got
down.
some
cutting-
duct tape. You got
yeah.
duct tape, Ryan?
There's some Gorilla tape in my toolbox.
You just tape that right on there. Keep going. Work through the pain.
Yeah. Now we got pumpkin spice blood. There you go. Vampires will be lining
Actually, that's the
up.
beginning of a horror movie. Pumpkinhead. Dun dun dun. The pumpkin has tasted blood now.
And make sure you keep
The
all
Great
this in.
Pumpkin.
Keep all this in the show, Rob. Don't edit this part out.
I'm not editing anything out. This is going to be the easiest show to edit. I'm just leaving everything in. It's one of those. We only have
Live.
we only have a couple of shows that year that we don't bother with the edits. The other one's the anniversary show and the Christmas show. We just let it go. Okay. So, you know what? Okay, while we're talking about pumpkins, that's a good segue into one of the news stories, which is one of the only
Halloween stories we saw.
Halloween stories that we saw that was really kind of new. And I hadn't heard of this movement, but have you guys heard of this teal pumpkin
Not until
Yeah.
you send me the link.
Yeah, I have heard of the teal pumpkin.
Is this have you heard of it previously to this year?
Yeah, it's been around for a few at least.
Well, it's pretty cool. It's actually, I guess, what people are doing is they're putting out teal pumpkins on their doorstep to indicate that they are offering allergy-free
Alternatives.
alternatives
To treats.
to treats.
So
For the kids.
toys and... Yep.
Pennies,
Pennies,
toothbrushes,
Yeah.
all that not fun stuff. But still, I mean, that's good. I mean, it's
Bouncy balls.
Yeah,
glow
it's a
sticks.
great-
Yep.
it's great. So for people out there that want to do that,
I think everybody should offer an alternative.
I want to know how they make their pumpkins teal,
Paint them.
because they're literally
Spray paint.
really.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
You don't want to eat it after you paint it, Rob, but
probably not.
I also don't want to eat it after Steve's blood in it.
I have blood in it. I'm keeping the bloody hand out. That's strictly for outdoor decoration.
As someone who has a lot of allergies, I think that would have been really cool as when I was younger and wandering around trick-or-treating in my epic costumes. I think that's a really cool painting of pumpkin teal in front of your house so that people know it's
Yeah.
an alternative to candy. That's also just in general, some parents don't like their children to have candy, or like they'll collect their candy and like ration it out to them instead of
Right.
just letting them have at it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool as, an alternative. Although I guess you could offer like something really dumb.
Well, that's the thing. What can you offer that's not candy that's almost as good as candy to a kid? I mean,
Money.
yeah.
When my kids were of trick-or-treating age, we had this one
Money.
house in our neighborhood where you would go in and they would have all these toys and crap laid out on the ground.
right?
And if you wanted candy, you had to take one of their toys.
Really?
And it was like cheap crap, like McDonald's toys and stuff. It's like stuff that nobody even wanted. And my kids walked in, they said, "Oh, you got to take a toy." And they went, handed the candy back and left.
Yeah, really.
All right, we're down to the scraping.
Excellent.
Now, this is the important part of the
Yes.
pumpkin, because
get it
without the scrumping on the or the scraping on the inside. Did I say scrumping?
You said
You did.
scrumping.
I thought that was a new word.
I think it actually is a real word.
Pumpkin
scrumping.
scrumping.
It means stealing.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Usually with apples, scrumping apples.
Interesting. Oh, that's another good one. Why do people? But where did bobbing for apples become a thing?
Yeah, can you imagine trying to get away with that nowadays?
Colleen, Google that.
Okay.
I bet you it's the Irish again.
How hygienic, eh?
That's just strikes me as something Irish people would do. Let's put a bunch of apples in water and then like dunk our heads in it to try to grab it with our. I never got that as a kid. People bob for apples. I'm like, I don't want to. Why would I do that?
A witch!
I mean, I'd bob for Tootsie Rolls.
I'm not a witch.
I mean, maybe like something good, but I can get an apple anytime. I'd bob for those Werther caramels. Those things are good.
Hell, if you want an apple, just go out into Ryan's parking lot. Have you noticed that out there, every time we come, there's an apple lying there with like one bite out of it?
Yeah. That's
Oh,
weird.
really?
Yeah,
Every
you
time we come.
I wonder if
Yeah,
there's
you got a weird neighbor.
I wonder if there's a crow or something that's finding them and dropping them.
I don't know.
There's no apple trees that I know of.
No, these are like, Macintosh
Oh, okay.
apples. They're not some random apple. That's,
Yeah, one of your neighbors is just like, I think I'm going to try an apple today. Crunch off. This sucks. This is just like yesterday. I'm just throwing it out the window.
It still tastes like apple.
Crap. You're reapplying paper towel to the wound.
Yeah, I'm apparently bleeding through it.
Oh, God. God.
Do you want some Gorilla Tape?
No, it's okay.
Oh, this is going terribly wrong.
All right, Colleen, did you look up bobbing for apples?
Yes, I'm. The first part of it is apple bobbing, also called bobbing for apples.
No.
It's a game played by children, often on Halloween. So I've gotten to the part that's about the origins. So let's see.
Yeah, well,
Origins.
Some
Bunch of
people
drunk
claim
Irish
that
people.
the Halloween custom of bobbing for apples dates all the way back to pre-Christian Ireland. It's always
That's the
my
Irish
turn.
again. You called it, Rob.
Yeah, I knew it.
You have to bob for the apple.
And the pagan festival of Samazia. Some druid word that I'm going to butcher.
No, yeah, it's a Wiccan thing. Samhai. Oh, we're gonna have a bunch of Wiccan listeners.
Somebody Google for me, where do pumpkins originate?
Like what country?
Yeah.
Hey, Google, where do pumpkins originate?
On the website hsgpurchasing.com, they say pumpkins are believed to have originated in North America. Seeds from related plants have been found in Mexico dating back to 7000 to 5500 BC.
Guess I should have mic'd her.
Date back many centuries.
Okay, so this is one of the things that I always check when I hear about Irish rituals, because there was a person like a person who was going for their doctoral or master's degree or something, and they wrote a big article about Irish pagan potato rituals, and had a huge work that they'd done on this. And the only problem is that pumpkins, like potatoes, are a New World crop.
Interesting.
Right.
Sounds like that's what the deal with this is too.
Yeah, so to say that it's an ancient pagan Irish ritual that started with pumpkins is kind of silly, given that pumpkins didn't get discovered until 1792 or whatever it was. When did Columbus? 1492. So, or after 1492. Anyways, so yeah.
So you're saying that
Yeah, basically it goes on to be like there's no proof of this, and that then it's like we can say with more certainty that it started several hundred years ago, and that it does appear to be a game organized somewhere in the British Isles, so England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales.
right somewhere.
And that it originally had something to do with divination, which is like fortune telling.
Yeah.
So it was like a divination game, apparently.
It sounds like a game made by adults that hated kids. Like, let's.
How many children can we drown while telling them
exactly.
that really it's a game for apples?
Quick, dunk your head in the ice cold water, Sally. Get the apple. Get it. No, you can do
It had
it.
to have been the excess apples. Maybe they were like the rotted ones. You know what I mean? You wouldn't like waste. It's the same thing as the pumpkins. Like, would you?
Would a waste an apple? Throw it. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
Is there a wash tub in the mud?
It's like
No.
the crap apples.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we've lost our pumpkin carver.
Yeah, he's got to go wash up.
I think he's feeling faint from blood loss.
Nah, he's got pumpkin goo all over him. And blood. Blood and pumpkin goo.
And you said today this show would be boring. So I don't know. Have you guys heard? What's the latest? What's the Halloween controversy this year? Now every year there always seems to be a controversy. Oh, I know what the new one is. This year that I heard was people were taking offense over wearing eye patches.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that or heard that.
Yeah.
You know, the advantage of being visually impaired is you could put a patch on both eyes
Yep.
Yeah.
and then just be a really silly-looking pirate.
Exactly.
Or I think it would be cool to go as Lady Justice,
Ooh.
because you could blindfold yourself
Yes.
and carry around some scales.
That's brilliant, actually.
And are you going costuming, Colleen? Or do you have a costume for this year?
This year I will be, I guess, some fandoms call it femming it up, but I will be Tony Stark
Ooh.
this year.
Nice.
I have I have finally, after a few years, have all the costume pieces. So I have an arc reactor that goes on the front and lights up.
Nice.
So that'll go under my shirt, which is a Black Sabbath T-shirt that he wore in the the first Iron Man film.
Right.
And then jeans, and I have exact gold and sunglasses, and I have a wig that I have cut and styled like his hair, which is brown and sort of messy in a deliberate way.
Now, are you doing a goatee as well?
I'm not. I think I might put on a bit of makeup and kind of be female Tony Stark.
Perfect.
So
I like
we
it.
shall see. It like I said, it's femming it up just because there are
Oh, I see.
certain...
Right. Gotcha. Well, you need to send pictures.
Yes. I was Jessica Rabbit last year.
Really?
From,
Settle down,
yes, from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Listen, that's a great costume. I was excited about the artistic value of Jessica Rabbit.
Yes, quite artistic.
It is.
I am agreeing with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've had a lot of I think it's my theater background, but also I collect like costume pieces and things like that. And in lieu of getting me a car, for instance, my family pitched in, and both my sisters could drive, so they got cars for their 16th or 17th birthdays. And instead of getting me a car, my family got me an entire Civil War reenacting dress.
Wow.
So I have the hoop skirt and all the undergarments and the shoes and the hat and the antebellum South sort of.
You notice
when I wear it, I'm 5 by 5.
You know
because
that your voice
dress
changed.
is 5 foot, and I'm 5 foot tall. So.
You know, your voice changed as soon as you started talking about it. It's like all of a sudden you Southern belled right in the middle of your conversation.
It's interesting. I'm a bit of a method actor, so it tends to come across depending on what character I'm portraying. So it's fun. I've always enjoyed. I majored in musical theater, and ever since I was young. My parents used to have to ask me, apparently, starting at the age of 2, can we speak to Colleen, please? Because I would just never want to be myself.
That's funny.
So there's a picture of, there's a little video of me in my grandmother's wig, and I think I was 3 years old, and you just hear my mom go, Colleen, what are you doing? And I'm like, dancing. And she's like, oh, okay. And then I just turn to the camera and go, come up and see me sometime. My mom was like, we're in trouble. Because it's just this 3-year-old me in a wig. Like, why is she quoting Mae West? Where did she learn that? Like, what cartoon was like?
Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, I was just going to say probably Bugs Bunny. Yeah.
All right, so we've hit the power tool portion of the program here.
Okay, so we need to describe to people what it is you're doing.
Yeah.
to the pumpkin.
What's the plan, Steve?
Okay, so the plan is I have drawn a picture of a ghost, kind of a cartoony ghost on the outside of this. I am going to, everywhere that there is ghost, I am going to peel off the orange pumpkin so that we've got the pale flesh underneath for the area of the ghost. But first, I'm going to put in the face of the ghost using a power drill. And
Damn, I can feel the wind on that.
and then I'm going to drill all kinds of holes through the ghost because I am making a holy ghost. I know. Yeah, there's a little bit of comedy in every presentation. Okay, so eye number 1. Eye hole number 1. Oh, there we go. Eye hole number 2.
My pumpkin face!
And a mouth. Oh, yeah, and it's spraying pumpkin all over the floor.
Nice.
That's awesome. All right, so we've got our 3 holes. You see how quick a power tool does that?
It does. That's true.
Right through there.
Shreds that flesh.
All right, so now we've got the face of the ghost. Now we got to kind of change it up. We're going to use some different sized bits here just so that the holes are different sizes on the ghost. So I've got 4 different bits here I'm going to use. So this is take out the face bit. I'm going to put a couple of big holes in here.
Whoa. Okay, kids.
Yeah, keep the splatter zone to a minimum.
I'll try.
Oh my God. So much. We forgot. You perhaps did not anticipate the spraying of pumpkin. This is probably the
Just watch
messiest,
electronics.
messiest way we could have carved this pumpkin.
How expensive is your equipment again?
It's pricey.
Okay, so
we messed the,
Come-
now I'm covered.
Do you have a
in
pop
pumpkin.
filter in front of the mic?
Yes, that we do. Yep.
A pumpkin filter.
But it's looking good.
Exactly.
All right, we're gonna need a wet cloth or something to mop this up with after we're done. But
Yeah, I'll get you guys to help me clean up.
I think I'll
Probably
put
think so.
slide my drill bit holder back a little bit because it's getting full of pumpkin guts too. All right, now we'll go to
The mixing
size.
boards across the room. Just I think everything else is pretty much behind you, so we're good.
trying a little bit lower speed here, so I'm not throwing it quite as far.
At least you didn't come with a chainsaw.
It crossed my mind, and I could have
Actually, yeah, that would have been cool. Actually.
So Rob, describe what he's doing. What's going on?
Okay, well, he is drilling various size holes in the body of the ghost, making it a holy ghost. It's like watching one of those Bob Ross painting videos.
All right. So now we've got our holes drilled. So now we're going to take that knife that tried to assault me earlier, well, successfully assaulted me earlier, and we're going to peel off some of this pumpkin skin.
Okay, so do you have enough paper towel for the next incident?
Yeah, really. You bring the.
And remember, this is your pumpkin. This is your pumpkin. You do whatever you want. And let's just go right in with the knife. Let's just go right in, and you can do whatever you want.
That's right.
It's your pumpkin. It's the Bob Ross of pumpkin tutorials.
Oh my God!
Make
that's
a little
that's
tree,
lot
happy
of-
little holy ghost. Little happy ghost. Right here. He needs a friend. He needs a friend. I love Bob Ross.
Right.
It's actually like, I wonder if he was the first ASMR video. Like someone just used Bob Ross to go to sleep.
You know, it wouldn't surprise me. Okay. Okay, so now Steve's trying to clean up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can
Is that-
do the next story while he's cleaning.
I don't even think we need to go to stories at this point. Why start talking about
That's true.
AT now? It's like minute 45. We were just going to talk about Apple, anyways.
Yeah.
What were you going to talk about, Apple?
No, I thought I would see. Thought I would see if there's supposedly anything accessibility related to be announced, but it doesn't sound like it, and that's where I feel like Apple.
Stagnant.
I don't know. They're just they're not. There's nothing new under the sun.
Well, they're
in
not-
terms of accessibility with Apple, and I don't know if that's because they're just kind of resting on their laurels because.
Well, I don't know what else they can do with voiceover. It's already on the Apple TVs. You know, it's already built into all their devices, the Macs, the iPads, the iPods, if that's still a thing. Like the next big evolution is going to be AI. They've done nothing with Siri for the last couple of years.
Right.
So in order for them to even catch up with digital assistants, it's going to take a lot of work. But yeah, there's been not a lot of news.
Well, and that's what's surprising about it. That's because you're absolutely right. I think that AI is the next frontier in terms of accessibility, and Apple doesn't seem to be working that hard on it. So it makes you kind of wonder, well, what are they doing? Where is their priority in terms of accessibility? What are they working on, and are they working on something that they're just not talking about yet?
Well, I'd like to know what Google's working on as well when it comes to accessibility.
But I think even you watch the last Google event, it's clear what they're working on, and that's AI.
It is AI, yes. But how accessible is that AI going to be for us? And what is that
Yeah,
going
if you look at the global trends in general, there's mostly investment in apps and AI.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom's company, she works for a spinal device company, and they just got bought out by a larger medical device company overall. And her office just got a robot
Yeah.
like a talking
Really?
AI. Like you walk up to it and ask it questions, and it's a physical body. And it's like, ask me questions when my eyes are blue. And I was like, Mommy, when you walk in there, you be nice to that thing, because when the reckoning happens,
right,
when the creepy reckoning happens, and they all turn on us, maybe it will spare you because you were nice to the robot.
That's right.
It's coming. It's
I
not
always
far
try
away.
to be nice to everything. You never know.
Yeah. No, we're not far away from having our own personal bots.
Yeah. And then last year, Alexa was creepily giggling at everyone.
Yeah.
So,
Now they have now they have a whisper mode.
oh man, really?
Yeah, so you can still talk to your Alexa in your normal voice, but at nighttime she'll whisper to you so she doesn't disturb anybody else.
Oh, that's just so creepy.
Yep.
I'm gonna somehow create a costume where I don't know how I will embody AI, but maybe I'll just be some sort of creepy AI.
Yep.
I don't know. They need to build AI into like a Roomba.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's coming.
If you could do a combination Roomba, Google Home, and like, speakers on it.
Mm-hmm.
Guide dog.
Is Steve snickering over there, or is he bleeding again?
No.
No, I've mostly stopped bleeding.
Guide dog Roomba.
Yep.
We do already, though, as humans, attach, like we anthropomorphize things all the time.
Sure.
Because there are people who send Roombas back to the factory to be fixed. Instead of exchanging it, like the company was like, oh, we'll exchange your, full exchange. We'll give you a new Roomba. They're like, no, I want my Roomba back. Just fix it.
That's right.
So they had to start separating the parts out and fixing people's Roombas because they got like emotional attachments to their Roombas. They're like, no, we want our Roomba.
You can't replace Eddie.
Oh, dear.
So what's happening with Pumpkin?
I am very, very carefully flaying the skin off of the pumpkin right now, rather than doing it on me, because I've already done it on me a bit. And it's slowly turning white.
You know what's going to be missed? Sorry, I lost my headphones. 1 sec.
I'm trying to picture this pumpkin. You said it was like a cartoony sort of ghost. Is it like a sheet with almost like two lumpy arms, or like
Exactly.
Is it just like a drop sheet, or does it have little hands raised or something?
It's got little hands sticking out.
Yeah.
My daughter actually went to a party this weekend, and her costume for the party was sexy ghost.
Of course it was.
So basically, she took a sheet, threw it over her head, cut holes in it for eyes, and then put a bra on over top of it. And it was pretty funny. It was a good costume. But when she went to the party, people kept on saying, "Oh, you're the KKK."
Oh, jeez.
So she
Oh my gosh!
so she didn't keep it on very long.
God.
Oh my gosh! I will say something that hopefully will begin to dwindle is the sexy version of every costume.
I don't think
Because
so.
it's pretty much when you look at like the female costumes of things, I always made my own stuff because it was like, I'm going to be Sherlock Holmes. I'm slutty Sherlock. And you're like, why?
Well,
Like, the costume in the female version was always just like the slutty version. Like the really revealing version of the costume.
yeah, I feel like we hit rock bottom last year when I went into one of those Spirit of Halloween stores and saw the sexy Scrabble piece costume. Yeah, I'm dead serious. I am not kidding.
Yep.
Yeah.
Somebody's jumped the shark.
Yeah, I mean, let's just be honest. Honestly, like, I don't know, I'm kind of missing the days when Halloween was like kind of a kid thing. Remember when it was for kids? Mm-hmm. Then we didn't have to worry about yelling about different Halloween controversies.
I don't think it was ever for kids.
It was for kids.
Never.
What do you mean?
It's always been for adults to get drunk on.
No, it hasn't. I don't ever
Well, that's
remember
how
when
I
I was
treat
a kid. when I was a kid, I don't ever remember hearing about like teenagers or adults doing anything on Halloween.
Yeah, well, that's
Back then, yeah.
yeah. You were
Parents took the kids out. And
When I was younger, Halloween was about awesome costumes and taking your pillowcase and going door to door and getting candy. And I specifically remember, as I got older, more stories about people throwing pumpkins in the road, like smashing the pumpkins,
Yep,
and
sure.
egging cars and toilet papering houses, and then like creepy stuff about costumes and like people dressed as clowns waiting in the woods for children, and like you were like, what happened?
yeah.
And I can't decide if it's because I got older, so I'm more aware of these things, or because of the way media has globalized us to a point where you just hear about more things in general now. So it's not that this stuff was never going on. It's just now everyone can instantly capture it.
That's like the old thing about razor blades in apples, right? You know, it's like, no, never accept an apple when you're trick-or-treating because there might be razor blades in it. Well, that happened like maybe twice in history. You know, it's not something that happens
Right, I
all the
remember
time.
that. Sure.
Was there something recently about weed in your candy?
Ooh,
Not
really?
last year.
Oh, I'm going to that house.
There's they were like well, they always tell you don't accept like homemade things from people,
Sure.
obviously, but there apparently was I can't decide if it was Colorado
Probably.
or one of the states. They sent out a warning like that there were several situations where candy had been laced with marijuana.
THC gummies or something. Here, kids, have some THC gummies.
Well, and listen, if I had kids, I would. Do I want them full of sugar or do I want them full of THC? One's going to make them sleep and the other one's not. So I'm quite okay with that. Thank you. I don't want them hopped up on rockets and caramels all night.
Rob's parenting tip.
That's why I don't have children.
Also,
everybody.
when we got candy this year to hand out, we decided to be the cool house. So we have some different options, but not like the chalky sort of candies. I'm determined to, I don't like the Smarties and the sweet tarts and all that. Like, here, have a Tums.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, we should-
No.
Well, it's a piece-
Sorry, we have to do a little cultural education here. Smarties in the U.S. are what we call rockets in Canada.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Really?
Stop the clock. What?
They don't have chocolate.
They don't have
candy-coated
chocolate
Smarties.
They do not have chocolate candy-coated Smarties in the U.S. No.
Oh, really?
That's a Cadbury product. Cadbury's British, and
Oh,
they don't
damn.
get them down there a lot.
Oh, interesting.
Smarties in the U.S. are sugar cane.
My mind is blown. Chocolate-covered Smarties.
Yeah, they're candy-coated.
no,
They're candy-coated chocolate, and they're called
not,
Smarties.
It's not like it's candy-covered rocket.
They're
chocolate-covered rockets.
they're like M&Ms, only they melt in your hands.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so we have two.
This is why I got so fat when I went to England.
And speaking of
When
candy,
I studied abroad, I gained so much weight because I just was like, Hershey's lied to me. I must try everything here made of chocolate.
Yep. Speaking of candy, Rob, there's a Halloween grab bag there, one for you and one for Steve.
Oh, really?
So there's candy and goodies in there for each of you.
Should I open one now?
Yeah, I think you should open one now
Okay,
because
hold
you
on.
guys are going to want to probably play swapsies.
All right, we're down to final strokes here on the
Nice job.
on the ghost,
Yes.
and there's only been minor injuries so far, so that's good.
3-hour show.
I have to decide what we'll carve on our pumpkins this year. We have two.
There's usually my wife will actually go online and see if she can find some really interesting styles or images and print them off and trace them out. But no limit to the imagination.
Yeah, when you have Pinterest.
Yeah.
All right, there we go, finished product.
All right, take a picture.
Well, hold on. It's missing. Okay, but with the part of. Can you turn your phone, the flashlight on, and put it in that so that it acts as a candle? Welcome to the 21st century.
That's right.
Are you going to turn the lights off?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Right.
The pumpkin is so slick with the blood of Steve. that they can't get the lid off.
I wiped it off.
Okay, can you hit that light behind you?
What's that?
Can you get that light behind you? And
Oh, what light behind me?
There's a wall,
a
switch
light
on the wall
switch.
behind
That
you.
switch. I see.
We've dimmed all the lights except the pumpkin light. And now we're taking a picture of the glowing pumpkin,
The Holy Ghost.
the Holy Ghost.
Nice.
That'll be up on our Instagram page for all
Twitter.
you, and Twitter and Facebook.
Okay, I got.
Rob's opened his grab bag.
I might call dibs on the Superman Pez dispenser, depending on.
What Steve's is?
Yeah. I have to. Oh, are these sweet tarts?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No,
Baggy though.
no.
Wait, I'm a little suspicious of this.
Oh, baggy. Oh.
You got
They're
a
not sweet tarts.
baggy-
No, they're not sweet tarts. They're bottle caps.
Bottle caps. All right.
Yeah.
So they're not weed infused.
No, I'm not telling you.
Okay. Pop rocks, sweet. I always thought all medication should make all medication out of pop rocks. Wouldn't pills be so much funner
That'd
to
be
take?
fun.
Right? I'm sure they
You'd
could
be
do
like, better take this for my diabetes.
that. That's right. That would be so fun. Ooh, Rice Krispie Square.
Steve's grabbed his bag.
Miniature. No, he hasn't.
I haven't.
Oh, okay.
I hope he's got Band-Aids in his bag. Oh, yeah, Macintosh toffee. Rockets, or Smarties for our American compatriots. Mini Rolos. Nice. This is pretty good.
Excellent.
Steve, open yours.
All right.
Let's see if we can...
Now they got to
Let's see
play
who
some
got the-
swapsies.
The better Pez dispenser.
All right. Let's start with the Pez dispenser. What do we got? Oh, we
What?
got a rivalry going on here.
What?
I got Batman.
Damn.
You got Superman.
That's tricky.
I'm Batman.
How different our cultures are.
I know. Oh, I got a baggie of those bottle caps too. Nice.
Quote bottle
Nice.
caps.
They're bottle caps.
Mini Rolos as well.
Uh-huh.
Rice Krispie treat.
Yeah. Let's see, Linda clearly put these together.
Pop Rocks. Cherry Cola. Wonderbar. Rockets or Smarties. And, Macintosh toffee.
Thank you for not getting any of those Kerr Kisses. Those really crappy
Thought about it.
orange
Thought about
molasses candies
it. That have been
are
around since the 1800s and are still going strong.
gross.
And is there any sort of special maple candy because you're Canada?
No, I didn't
not
do
really.
maple. No,
I mean,
you can get.
like you say, it's Canada, so you can get maple anything here. Honest to God. Like, if you want a maple pumpkin spice latte, I'm sure you could find it.
Gotcha. I wasn't sure if that was actually a thing or if it was just one of the only facts people knew about Canada. Like, they have maple syrup.
Wow. Okay, well, I guess we can start wrapping up. Believe it or not, we wasted an entire episode.
Did we really?
Excellent.
We didn't talk about anything relevant to assistive technology.
We're like Seinfeld. This was about nothing.
That's
No.
right.
Which, although
probably
we
worked
got a
out
little
well.
bit, we've taught people a few things, like not to which way to slice with a knife, and
Oh, that's a very awkward spot. Okay.
the origin of apple bobbing and
And we talked about
That's true.
the teal pumpkin thing.
teal pumpkins.
Once
Teal
again,
pumpkin
we've
story.
discovered the Irish have a
Right.
lot to answer for.
So in theory, apparently,
We've blown pumpkin bits around the basement. That's important.
yeah. I don't know. Sorry, Ryan.
You guys are helping me clean it up because I can't see it.
Out of sight, out of mind. That's what I always say. In 3 months, when you're like, "What's that smell?"
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, at least the rats will have something to eat.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Okay. So now, before we really start to wrap up, though, we do need to announce something, Ryan.
What are we announcing?
Announcements.
Announcements.
It's okay. I like it. I'll keep that. No, who's going to be our guest next week?
Well, we've got 3 shows next week.
Okay, well, who's going to be one of our big guests that we've been talking about trying to get for like 2 years?
Next week, we will be finally welcoming to the AT Banter podcast accessibility advocate Paralympic champion and the man in motion himself, Mr. Rick Hansen.
Woohoo!
Colleen's like, who? Google Rick Hansen, Colleen. They'll blow your mind.
Oh, there. That was my mind being blown.
I think we lost Colleen.
Hello.
She bailed. She's just like, I'm out of here.
Pumpkin's done. I'm out.
I thought she was being a little quiet.
Hmm.
Was it something? Was it something I said?
I don't know.
Some hosts we don't even notice for like 10 minutes.
Yep, she's gone.
She's gone.
She's gone. Well, that's spooky.
Yeah. She just vanished into thin air.
Halloween mystery, AT Banter mystery. Tune in next week and find out what happened to Colleen. She said, last thing we heard her say was, I'll be right back. We never saw her again. Hey. All right. Well, any closing thoughts? How did everyone enjoy this Halloween show?
Oh, wow. I mean, so...
I'm sure Steve's probably going next year. Someone else is carving the pumpkin.
Somebody else can stab themselves.
For our Christmas show, let's see if you can carve a turkey.
There you go.
Oh, we have one of those electric carvers that really do some damage.
Get out the Dremel.
We're going to wood router this turkey.
That's right.
All right.
What could possibly go wrong?
Well, for anybody who is interested in seeing the finished product, of course, we'll throw it up on our Twitter feed. We'll throw it up on the website and Instagram and various places.
We hope you enjoyed our freeform pumpkin-themed show.
They didn't.
Happy Halloween to all of you.
Hey, Ryan.
Rob.
Where can people find us?
atbanter.com.
They can also drop us an email if they so desire, atbanterpodcast@gmail.com.
And rumor has it that they're also able to find us on Twitter and Facebookies and Instagrams.
Yeah, and hey, what about Canadian Assistive Technology?
Well, Canadian Assistive Technologies can be found at www.canastech.com. And you can also find it on Twitter and Facebook.
Now, a little shameless plug. In addition to that, we also have a lovely print catalog available. So, hey, if you're out there and you're curious about all the different products that Canadian Assistive Technology carries, go to our website, and there's a big graphic right there on the front that says download our print catalog, and you can get it in PDF format and
accessible PDF format,
of course. And for your enjoyment. Good bathroom reading.
Indeed. Print out the whole thing. Use 1 page a day.
That's a lot of pages.
Tell me about it. I had to build it.
Yeah.
It was 110 pages.
Make sure you print double-sided. Save a tree.
What about Chaos Technical Services?
Well, Rick Chant, that guy who can fix all kinds of assistive technology, can be found at www.chaostechnicalservices.com, or you can email him at chaostech@shaw.ca, and chaos is, of course, CHAOS.
Hey, well, we'd like to thank, of course, Colleen Connor for helping us out with the show.
The amazing disappearing woman.
We don't know where she went, but I'm sure she's okay, everybody. But we'll let you know. We'll update you next week if we hear something through the grapevine that she's abducted by aliens or something.
Well, we were talking about World of Worlds earlier on.
Yeah, there you go. Who knew? All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. Again, next week, very excited. We got some great shows coming up, including Rick Hansen, which we're very excited about. We're going to have to learn how to do a podcast in a week.
Just don't forget the questions you sent.
Let's just hope he doesn't listen to this week's episode before as part of research for where am I appearing again? Let me just check what their last show was.
Why did I agree to do this?
What the hell? Calling his agent, get me out of this. Oh, dear. Anyways, all right, everybody, thanks for listening, and we'll see everybody next week.
This podcast has been brought to you by Canadian Assistive Technology, providing low vision and blindness solutions across Canada. Find us online at www.canasstech.com. That's CANASSTECH.com. Or call us toll free at 1-844-795-8324. For all your assistive technology servicing needs, call Chaos Technical Services at 778-847-6840 or find them online at chaostechnicalservices.com. Music provided by bensound.com.
Whoa, look at that. Master of the one take.